Do you remember the good old days? I sure do. It was a time when the TV was the center of the living room. After school you would race home, throw your backpack on the floor and grab a snack. You knew exactly what time your favorite show was on. It was a special event. Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and Disney Channel were like magic kingdoms. They had shows that everyone talked about the next day at school. We all had our favorites, from SpongeBob SquarePants to Rugrats. These weren't just shows, they were a huge part of growing up for so many of us. This was what we call appointment television. It meant you had to be there at a specific time, sitting in front of the TV, or you would miss it. There was no rewind button and no way to watch it later, unless you were lucky enough to record it on a VCR. This shared experience brought us all together. We would all watch the new episode of Doug or Dexter's Laboratory at the same time. The next day, you could talk about it with your friends. It created a sense of community. We all shared the same jokes and the same suspense. The channels themselves had personalities. Nickelodeon was known for its slime and its quirky, kid-focused humor. Cartoon Network was the home of endless animated adventures, from funny to action-packed. And Disney Channel gave us stories about friendship and family, with catchy songs we couldn't get out of our heads. These channels were not just broadcasting shows, they were creating entire worlds for us to escape into. The hours between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. were a sacred time, filled with laughter, excitement, and unforgettable characters that became like friends. The magic of that era was in the waiting. The anticipation for a season premiere or a special holiday episode was a feeling we all knew. Commercial breaks were for running to the kitchen or talking about what might happen next. It was a simple, shared routine that defined a generation of television viewers. The schedule on the TV guide was our map, and we followed it every single day. This was a time before everything was available instantly, and maybe, just maybe, that made it a little more special. It was a wonderful time, wasn't it? Then something changed. The world got faster, and technology brought us new ways to watch things. The internet became a part of every home, and with it came platforms like YouTube. Suddenly, kids didn't have to wait for a specific time to be entertained. They could watch funny videos, tutorials, or even full episodes of shows whenever they wanted. This was a huge shift. The power moved from the TV schedule to the viewer. Kids could now choose exactly what they wanted to see, right at their fingertips on a computer or a tablet. The introduction of streaming services like Netflix completely changed the game. Instead of one episode, you could watch an entire season of a show in one weekend. This concept of binge watching was new and incredibly popular. Children and teenagers quickly adapted to this new freedom. Why wait a whole week for the next part of a story when you could watch it all right now? The traditional TV channels, with their fixed schedules, started to seem slow and old-fashioned. The instant gratification offered by streaming was too powerful to ignore for a new generation. This new way of watching was perfect for busy family lives. Parents could put on a show for their kids on a phone while waiting in a doctor's office or on a long car ride. Entertainment became portable and personal. Each child could watch their own favorite show on their own device, instead of everyone gathering around one television set. According to recent studies, the number of young viewers watching YouTube is massive. It shows that kids today prefer the freedom and variety that online platforms offer over the structured programming of cable television. As a result, the ratings for channels like Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and Disney Channel began to fall. Between 2016 and 2023, Nickelodeon's viewership dropped by a staggering 86%. It wasn't that kids stopped liking cartoons or shows about teenagers. It was that they found a new, more convenient way to watch them. The magic wasn't gone, but it had moved to a different place. The living room TV was no longer the only stage. Now the show was happening on millions of smaller screens, all on demand. Faced with these new challenges, you would think the big channels would have tried to create bold new shows. But instead, they often did the opposite. They started to rely more and more on the shows that were already famous. We saw endless reruns of old favorites and countless spin-offs of successful series like SpongeBob SquarePants. While it's always nice to see familiar faces, it felt like there were fewer new ideas. The network seemed to be chasing the nostalgia of parents rather than creating the next big thing for a new generation of kids. This cautious approach also meant that some truly creative ideas were turned away. A perfect example is the show Phineas and Ferb. When its creators first pitched the idea in the 1990s, both Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network rejected it. They thought the story, which had multiple plots happening at once, was too complicated for kids. but Disney Channel eventually took a chance on it and it became a huge global hit. This shows how being too afraid to take risks can lead to missing out on something wonderful and innovative. The focus remained on what was known to be successful. We see this even today. For its 25th anniversary in 2025, Nickelodeon is focusing heavily on its legacy brand, Dora the Explorer, with a new live-action movie. Similarly, Disney is bringing back Phineas and Ferb for a new series. While these revivals are exciting for longtime fans, they show a pattern of looking backward instead of forward. The channels that once defined what was new and cool in children's entertainment were now playing it safe by sticking to their greatest hits. This reliance on old intellectual property created a cycle. With fewer new, groundbreaking shows, there was less to draw young audiences back to traditional cable. Kids who were discovering entertainment on YouTube and streaming platforms were finding fresh, new creators and endless content. Meanwhile, the big three channels were offering a lot of the same things they had offered years ago. This strategy, meant to reduce risk, ended up making the channels feel less relevant in a world that was rapidly changing and demanding originality. So what happens now? The companies behind these famous channels are not giving up. They are smart, and they see where the audience has gone. They are now moving their best content onto their own streaming platforms. Nickelodeon's new shows and movies like the live-action Dora film now premiere on Paramount Plus at the same time they air on TV. This is a big change. It shows they understand that to reach today's kids, they need to be where the kids are, on streaming apps and online platforms. Disney has done the same with Disney Plus. It has become the new home for all things Disney, Pixar, Marvel, and of course the Disney Channel. New original series and movies are made specifically for the streaming service, and it's also where you can find all the classic shows from the past. Cartoon Network content is also a major part of Warner Bros. Discovery's streaming service, Max. The channels themselves are no longer the final destination. They are now just one part of a much larger digital strategy to keep their brands alive and well. The truth is, the way we watch television has fundamentally changed forever. The era of appointment TV, where everyone gathered at the same time to watch the same show, is over. Today's entertainment is personal, on demand, and accessible from anywhere. The magic once held by Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and Disney Channel hasn't completely vanished. It has just been scattered across different services and screens. The characters and stories are still there, but we just access them in a different way. In the end, these channels must continue to adapt to survive. They need to create new, exciting content that can compete with the endless choices online. They also need to embrace the new ways people watch that content. The golden age of cable television may be a nostalgic memory, but the future can still be bright. As long as there are creators with great ideas and companies willing to take a chance on them, the magic of children's entertainment will live on, no matter what screen we watch it on. It's a different world, but the stories are what matter.